Maybe I can see this camera here. Let's push that in a little bit just so it's not the same exact. Mal mio mister Jesus. Feel a little drippage. Okay, sorry.
Okay, we are rolling.
Fantastic. Hi there, my name is Brady McAtee. I am a student at Western Washington University and an employee at the Digital Media Center here in the library. And if you're watching this video, I'm going to start over. That was terrible. I'm going to go over the, punch myself in the, I am going to go over the rundown of our Cinekit, what it looks like, how to set it up, and give you some tips on how to use it so that you can make your dreams come to reality. A lot of things here, and they're a little overwhelming when you first look at, I like the diamond wipe there. That was very nice. These are all fantastic things that you have at your disposal to make a movie with for free. And these are industry level pieces of gear. Really, really nice stuff that's just, you know, here for you to use all the time. And so, no excuses. Make stuff, okay? So the main cameras that we use here are studio cameras that are filming this right now. These don't leave the studio, but these are Blackmagic cameras, and then these are our Cine cameras. These are also Blackmagic cameras. These are Pocket 6K 2.0s, I believe. So that's what we're gonna be building our kit off of, is the Blackmagic 6K. And so that's really important, obviously. The arguably equally important piece of equipment, maybe a little bit more, depending on, you know, what we're talking about here, but is the tripod, which you should always be using, especially when you're starting out making films. Do not do handheld footage. I don't care who you think you are. You're not gosh, what's his name? I've been out of the game so long, I don't even know. But use a tripod, okay? Because nobody wants to see your shaky footage. This is going to be 90%, 95% of all your shots on this, and you can get a lot out of a tripod. Still shots are beautiful, good for creative framing. You can do a little panning, a little tilting, you know. Always use a tripod. If you need to go handheld, you'll need to use like a rig or something. Never just put your hands right on the body. It's just because there's no built-in stabilization on this camera. So I'm getting ahead of myself now. So the tripod here, I'm going to pivot a little bit. 1 second. Okay, so this is a fluid head tripod. It's got a lock here. I don't know if you can see that lock. Let's cut over that. There we go. So this is the tilt lock, or the pan lock, sorry. And this is the tilt lock, okay? And so it's very smooth. You can get very good smooth movements. There's a lot of tension on it. You can control the tension with these little knobs here too if you want it to go slower or faster. But always make sure that those are locked down when you're loading the camera on and taking it off. Okay, so that's locked. Let's load the camera. So the camera's gonna come like this. This is kind of as stripped down as we usually go with these things. You can, you know, they can go more bare bones than this, but it still fits in the bag this way, and this is kind of just the way that we do it. So this is how you'll get the camera. All the cables should be, you know, either plugged in already or in the same kind of pocket. So that should be pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to unplug this so I can show you what to do. So on the bottom should be a base plate. If there's not a base plate, you're going to want to, it's going to be in the bag somewhere. You're going to want to find the arrow that's pointing where the lens is, put it on there, and then use this tool here. I believe it's this tool. Yes, it is. You can use a quarter, but it's, you know, kind of a pain in the butt, and it slips a lot. This is a way better tool. This is designed for tightening base plates down, okay? So you get that tightened on there. That's not going anywhere. Then you're going to want to take it over to the tripod, and you're going to want to line up the tracks there. And there's a red button here. Let me spin that over. Oh, there's a red button right here. Am I pointing at the right thing? Yeah. So this knob needs to be loosened, okay? And then when you're pushing it on, you want to press that red button and then slide the camera on. So we're going to do this. Line up the track, push that button. Did we do it? We did. And then we're going to tighten this knob down, okay? So that is solid right there. We're going to lock this back down again. That's my bad. I should have made sure that they were both locked. The most important thing to be locked is the tilt action, because you don't want the camera sliding back and like this when it's not locked. But make sure everything's locked, you know. That's a good habit to build. Okay, next up we're going to want to do the battery because we can't do anything if the camera is off. So I'm going to unlock the pan here, and I'm going to show you how we get this started. So over here in this box, this handy dandy Pelican case, yeah, great pan shot. That's beautiful, great work. We've got several things. We've got little SSDs. This is where your footage goes on to, little cables for that. We've got some, we do have a handheld rig, but don't even worry about that. You should be using a tripod most of the time. That's like, you know, that's a little later down the line. We got these batteries here. We get 2 of them, and there will be a charger that comes with the kit as well, which is great because you can have one charging while the other one is on the camera. So these are called V-mount batteries because there's a little V right here. Yeah, great shot. Look at that. We got some pros in here working the cameras. It's a little V that latches into the mount. It's very secure, and it's got a lot of different outputs on it. So you want to click it. Look at that. This one's not quite full charged. It's about 75% charged, which will be great for our demo. But you're going to want to make sure that you get these charged to 4 bars before you start shooting anything. Let's take it on over to the camera. Okay, so on the back of the camera here is the, let me get that so you can see a little bit better. There's a reciprocal V-mount portion. So this goes in there. You press this red button in, slide that in like that. Oh, make sure it's locked. Wait, it should be nice and secure. And then what we want to do is we have this cable that's coming out of the mount. This needs to go, there's a little rubber flap. You take the rubber flap open, you put this, and there is a right and a wrong way to do this. So make sure that the thing is lined up and pop it in there. Now, what we just did there is, let me see if I can move this up. Let's scoot that back. So what we did there was we split the output. So normally you would have, this cable plugging into the camera, but we have a lot of things we're going to power with this battery. And so we just split the output. So now there's 4 little outputs that we can use to power different things. So, yes, we've got that. Now this coil, this little phone cable thing, I don't know what this is what it looks like. It's pretty, easy to identify. It's either already plugged in the camera or it's going to be laying in the bag. It has another one of those kind of square D-tap, I believe is what this is called. D-tap, little square plug-in things. And then the silver end on the other end is a 2-pin connection. This is what goes directly into the camera for power. So we're going to take this, and on the, let's see if I can, how can we see this? If you can zoom in right here, expert, look at that. There's 4 in a row. It's kind of hard to see. Oh, there you go. You can see it, 4 in a row. We're going to plug this into the closer one. And there it is. And now the camera, there's an on switch right on the top. Now the camera will power on. See, it's powered on. There's no lens on it yet, so we don't want to take the body cap off or anything, but just to show you that it's being powered. So I'm going to turn that back off. Alrighty. So now, I think a good step is to grab the monitor and put the monitor on there. So the Blackmagic 6K has a really nice big screen on it, and it swivels. So you don't really need a monitor depending on how your setup is. The way that we have these cameras set up, and you are free to change the orientation of these things. Once you get familiar with how it works, you can kind of move things around as long as you put it back the way that you found it. But the way that we do it tends to have the V-mount blocking the monitor just because we want to distribute the weight evenly across the whole thing. And so the best way to do that is to have the V-mount at the back because the lens tends to be the thing that kind of offsets that weight. And so because of that, you want a monitor that you can get you out of that cluster of things. So down here on the table is our wonderful monitor, okay? Beautiful monitor, and the power cable that comes with it. It's another one of those D-tap things right there, and that'll go into the splitter that we just did earlier. So let's see here. What we want to do is we want to find a magic arm to put that into the thing. And we might need to cut because I'm not sure if I know where that is. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Oh, I think it's this, right? Yeah. So this is the handle. You can use like a magic arm or anything really that has a thread on it, like it has two male threads, male to male. But this is nice because it gives you a little handle, to carry your rig around. So we're going to screw these pieces together, and you can screw it from both sides. That's nice. So you can orient it however you want. We're going to screw this on. Be careful. It's best to do this while sitting down. There's a little knob that makes it easier. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to slide it onto the camera like that and tighten it down. And actually, I'm going to reverse the monitor so that it's facing towards me because that's important for the camera op to be able to see what he's doing. Okay, and then we take the HDMI that's already plugged in here and we plug that right in there to the side of the monitor. We're on our way. Now we need a battery for that. Oh wait, no, the power cable. That's right. I'm used to using batteries. This is so nice that we have a splitter so that we can use that one amount to power everything. So this power cable here will go into the monitor right here. This little, there it is. Yep, it's a 4-pin, I believe, 4-pin, yep. And we're gonna kind of just twist it and be careful not to ruin those pins. They're very delicate, but you just wanna kind of find where it goes. There we go, it latched into place. Yeah, don't push, don't force anything, but just give it a little pressure so it can lock into place. And then we have this, which again goes back to our splitter that we found earlier, and that can go right in there. Oh, I think it's up. Yep, there we go. They go side by side. So now the monitor should power on. Let's try that. The power button. Oop, let me make sure I know where that is. These monitors are all different here. It's on the side. It's right here. It's a little slider. Okay, so we're gonna power that on like that. I'm gonna power the camera on like that. And there we go. So there's nothing, on the camera, but you can see that the screen's lit up here. So let's turn everything back on. Now we get to do the exciting part. Well, all of it's exciting, but this is the really fun part. The glass, as it's called in the film world, or the lens, as it's called in every other world, is the most exciting part of the camera setup. And the lenses we have here at the DMC are nothing short of incredible. These are powerful cine lenses. And we have quite a few of them. And so I really encourage you to explore and experiment with these things. They're absolutely beautiful. I mean, these are state-of-the-art cinema lenses. So here we go. It's very exciting. Look at that. I mean, look at this beauty. I'm going to tilt it up towards the camera so we can get a close-up. Let's cut to, there we go. Look at those. I mean, these are the kind of, lenses that you see on like a Marvel movie set. I mean, these are crazy, crazy powerful lenses. They're beautiful. And so we want to be very careful. But also, something can be said. If you're too careful with some things, sometimes you underestimate yourself and then you end up making more mistakes than necessary. So don't be nervous around them, but them with care. So I'm going to keep looking at that camera. My bad, everybody. We're going to pop the 20-55. This is the most common lens that you'll use because when you're shooting people, when you're filming people, let me rephrase that, you want to use a lens that has the least amount of distortion, is the most natural to the eye. And so about 50 millimeters, between 40 and 50 and maybe 60 millimeters is the focal length, is what it's called, that you want to use when you're filming people, their faces. So this is the most common lens that will be on your camera. It's the 20-55. We're going to take that out. This is the back cap. Oh, and the lens cap fell off. Be careful of that. They don't twist on, they just kind of pressure fit. I'm going to pick that up. Okay, so we've been introduced to the lens cap. This goes on the front of the glass. This is the body cap, okay? I'm actually gonna put the lens cap back on while I do this. On over to the camera, let's go. Okay, here we go. So, it's really helpful to have a friend or a crewmate help you do this, to have the least amount of the chance of dust and crud getting in the camera. on the sensor. Oh, hello, Karsh. Thank you so much. Okay, we still able to see what's going on? Cool. Okay, Karsh, would you take the bot of this camera, please? Thank you. There's a little button in there, and yeah, it twists perfectly. Then I'm going to take this off and hand you that to free up both of my hands. And then I am going to... There's a little red dot here, right? And a little red dot there. You want to line up those dots, put the lens in, and twist it clockwise like that. And you hear that click, that beautiful sound. Click. Take those. Thank you so much, Karsh. Appreciate it. Now, we got a lens on there. Now, this lens is huge. It's absolutely massive. It's got a lot. It's very front heavy. And so we need to support the lens so that it's not putting unnecessary pressure on the camera. And so what we want to do is, if you zoom in right here, yeah, great. We have a lens support. It's a little V shape. Yeah, you can see that. So we're going to want to unscrew this and push it up. See how it pushes right up? And give it a little push and make sure that it's really connected to the lens. Then we're going to tighten it. So now we have a nice support from the front of the lens and the back of the lens, and it's all level and beautiful. So now we can take the beautiful lens cap off. Keep the lens cap, the body cap, and the back cap together. Put them in the lens case so you don't lose those. Those are the first, I mean, I can't tell you how many of those I've lost. So many. So keep them together. Maybe use a little gaff tape to tape them together. Label them, something, but don't just leave them wherever because you will lose them in a heartbeat. Now we've got the camera basically set up. And you can start shooting just like this. This is, you know, this is the bare bones. This is what you need. Actually, I stand corrected. We do need an SSD to start shooting technically, but this is really the bulk of the work. Before we plug an SSD in, we are going to set up the follow focus. So you'll notice on the side of the lens here, yeah, right there, see these little gears. So what are those gears for? Well, these lenses are manual, and so there's no autofocus, there's no auto aperture, there's no, you know, auto zoom. It's all manual. It's controlled through these gears. So this is the aperture. You let in more light, less light, you know, make your image brighter, darker. This is the zoom, I believe. Yep. So this is what we get. We want to aim for like 55, 50. Okay. And then this is the focus. And so how do we manage those things in a shoot while keeping our hands off the lens? Because if you're out touching the lens and messing with it and trying to focus and everything, you're shaking the... It's so much harder to do what you need to do here while you're focusing on this here. And so we have an amazing invention called a follow focus. Some of them are on the side and they're a little manual or whatever. We have a wire follow focus, excuse me. And so this is going to be something that's run by your AC, your assistant camera, or sometimes it's its own thing, focus puller, somebody who has a little monitor or is watching this monitor up here, and their whole job is to make sure that the shot is in focus. So the camera person can be here filming and doing their thing, and then the follow focus person can focus on making sure that the focus is... So let's set that up. This is the battery unit for the follow focus. You're going to want to make sure that they're all charged and everything. So once you get the kit, you know, in general, plug everything in, get it going. Okay, we've got 2 motors. Let me see if I can get these out. Yeah, motors. And you saw that there were 3 gears. Okay, so it's up to you what you want to do and how you want to use them. I think the most logical, or the thing that I do that makes the most sense, is that you're going to be changing the focal length and the focus the most often. So use those for that. And then you can always just change the aperture manually, because rarely are you going to have a shot where you're changing aperture mid-shot. I mean, maybe sometime or whatever. You can always swap them. There's a nice rail system that makes that pretty easy. But yeah, so we've got the 2 motors here. We've got the power cable and the pass-through cable. And we've got these nice little rings here. These are like basically kind of dry erase whiteboard material or whatever. And so you can actually, well, I'll get into that later. Let's mount these onto the camera. So we'll take one, and there's somebody singing in the office over there. What's going on? Hello? Okay, we're gonna ignore that. We're gonna keep filming. So, here on the side, you'll see this spinning doohickey, okay? It's not supposed to spin. Well, it is when you're setting it up, but then we'll lock it down. This is actually what attaches to this, okay? So we're gonna, this little notch right here, we're gonna push this in. Hold on. It's been a little while since I've done this, so I don't remember exactly how the process goes. I think I need to keep loosening this until it goes on. Yeah, there we go. So once you loosen it enough, it opens the track up and you can slide this on just like that. You're gonna attach this one, we're gonna do on the focus. So you make sure that the gear is on the motor is attached to the gear on the focus, and I need to lock this down so it stops moving. Okay, do as I say, not as I do. And then we're gonna lock this down and we're gonna latch it and make sure it's nice and tight. Don't over tighten, but good finger tight. That's not going anywhere, okay? That's, you can do a hand spin test. That's nice and spinny, feels free. I'm gonna do the other one now. Same thing on the other side. Now I can unlock this and we're going to loosen that. Okay, there we go. And we're gonna lock that in there and tighten it down. Oop, I was loosening it. If you loosen it too much, it just kind of turns into two pieces and unlatches itself, which you'll just have to line it back up and start from the top, but there we go. So that is locked in. That is also feeling nice and smooth. Okay, now we have this beautiful contraption here, which there should be a lanyard somewhere. It's not in the box, but just make sure, all of these things, it's good to do a check before you check the gear out to make sure everything's there, because, we do a good job of making sure catalog everything, but sometimes things get moved to different kits, or maybe somebody who dropped it off previously didn't put everything where it's supposed to go, and so it's a good habit to get into to make sure you got everything. But there's a lanyard that'll go right in there, and then you can kind of wear this on your neck, the AC can. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this thing. Well, actually, no, we're gonna do the power first. So this is the power cable, which we're very familiar. We should be by now with this D-tap end. This is what goes out of the splitter, and then this silver end is what goes into one of the motors. And then we use this to pass through from one motor to the other so that we have a nice chain going through. So let's plug our D-tap cable in right back here, as we have done multiple times now. This is number 3 back there. And then we're going to take our, can you see that? Yep. We're going to take our, what is this, a 6-pin, 7-pin? It's a lot of pins. We're going to plug it in to, I'm fairly certain it doesn't matter which one you plug it in. Okay, so there's a red dot right here on the actual thing, and a red dot on the receiving end. So you're just going to want to line those up and plug it in. And there we go. Nice little wiggle, make sure it's secure. That's good. And then we're going to take our pass-through cable, this one, and we're going to pass it through to the other motor. So we're going to take this and we're going to plug it in. And then we're going to bring it under. And if I had a little bit more time, I'd play with cable management, making sure it's out of the way. You don't want it draped on top of the motors because it's going to get caught up in the gears and stuff. You want to find a way that kind of works for you. Maybe use a little tiny rubber band or like a hair tie or something to kind of get the slack out of the way. But for now, we're just doing a demo. So I'm going to plug that in. There we go. Now there's power all through the whole thing. And what we're going to do now is there's a power button on the front of these motors. Let's see if we can get a close up on that. I don't know how. It's a little obscured. Let me see. There we go. Okay. There's a little power button here. It works. It's moving our lens. That's so cool. Yep. And there's only, I don't know, they both have power on them, but I guess you only need to turn one on and then the other one kind of follows suit. So they're both on now. They're both connected to the camera, manually connected to the camera. And then we have our wireless device. So we're going to turn this on now, which I always forget how to do. Sorry, there's a button somewhere. Oh, it's this giant skull thing. It looks like a transformer or something. It's this big button right here. It's a little hard to see if you're me, I guess. We're gonna hold that down. Oh, I guess the batteries aren't in here. I thought there were 4. So let's make sure, let's put some batteries in. Okay, yep. These big hunkin' batteries, we're gonna put those in, and it says right here which way is which. And so this one needs to be positive and this one needs to be negative. Let's see if I got that right. Yes! First try. It's a rare occasion for me. There it is. It's on. It's ready to go. Now, get zoomed into the camera here. Or I want to see both of them at the same time. Okay, so get the lens over there too. No, go this way. Yeah, and zoom out. I want to get the camera lens and my thing at the same time. Here we go. Magic. Look at that beautiful magic. We are controlling the camera. We're actually doing the zoom through this device. Okay, and now if I switch, I'm actually not entirely sure. This is probably something I should figure out. Let's see here. Which, or how to switch between motors. Aaron, do you know how to switch between the motors here to switch? I just want to make sure that that's explained for whoever's watching this.
You should be able to change the mode on the LCD.
Okay, let's see here. If I go down to motor and... Oh, man. Oh. Okay, interesting. Well, that's weird. We're going to need to figure that out. Here we go. So I'm going to have to do a little explanation here. Okay, so it appears to me that I have kind of put the wrong motor on the wrong thing. So I'm going to quickly swap those around because as you'll see, this should be controlling the focus, but it's currently controlling the focal length. It's controlling the zoom. And then this little knob on the side here, little tiny joystick right there. Yeah, right there. This is controlling the focus. When I push it up, it focuses, and when I push down, it defocuses. As you'll see, it's kind of moving that. So we definitely want to make sure the focus is this big wheel because you want to bow so that you're able to do fine adjustments. And then you can do this, you know, this is like not a big deal. You can just adjust whatever. So let me switch those real quick just so we can make sure we're doing everything we can to be accurate. And feel free to, whoever's editing this, to either cut out the part, you know, wire.
Did you power down?
I mean, I wasn't gonna unplug them or anything. I was just gonna swap them around.
Okay, cool.
Here we go. There we go. So now let's make sure that this is the right one. Okay, that's the focus. So I'm gonna move that. Here we go. Okay, and then this one is our, yeah, probably best for the editor just to edit this part out and not to make me look good, but to just cut down on the excessive filler. Okay, there we go. So now, as you'll notice, we've got the focus right here on that front ring, and with that little joystick on the side, we're able to control the focal length. Sorry, now I'm noticing a little bit of a, yes, okay, so my gear is not properly aligned, so I need to make sure that it is. There's a lot of little fine adjustments. You're gonna wanna give yourself, like, I would say give yourself 2 hours pre-shoot. I mean, you know, eventually you could probably do it in like 45 minutes, but if you're just starting out before your shoot, you give yourself 2 hours to play with the camera and to set it up and calibrate it because actors do not like waiting around. I mean, in general, but like waiting around for the camera crew is like, you know, they can barely handle themselves. Okay, so make it easy for them because they have a hard job. So here we go. Everything is good to go. Everything is focusing and moving, and see what is going on there. Need to figure out what that is because that doesn't look, hold on. Why is it doing that? Okay, I'm just not gonna, I think I need to tighten the base plate, so I'm just not gonna, we're gonna start that part over and I'm not gonna overextend it. Okay, so there we go. We've got the focus and we have got the focal length, and they're both moving and motorized. And the battery on this will last pretty much a full shoot, which is great because there's only one set of batteries. And so you're gonna want it like anytime you're taking a break or a lunch break or you know, whatever, where you're not shooting, take the batteries out, plug them in, But for the most part, they should last you a full shoot. So that's good. So there we are. That is the bulk of it. We have one more thing to do. I almost forgot. Well, it's all very important. I think I've said most important like 10 times now, but this is, you can't shoot anything if you don't have a place for the footage to go. So we're going to put an SSD in, and then we'll be done with that. So over here in this case, let's get a close up on that. Wonderful. Let's get a nice focus on that. Great. Okay, so we'll have two in here, two SSDs. These are what we put the footage on. They're nice and sleek, thin, compact, but they are very effective. And then you want to want the USB-C to USB-C. I'm going to take this on over. Okay. And there should be, hold on, there should be a thing in here to mount them. I'm not, oh, it's in the bag? Thank you. And then, is there an Allen? Yeah, there is. Okay. Is this something that we're typically going to have on the kit already, or is this something I should demonstrate on how to put on and everything?
Demonstrate.
Okay. I'm not sure where it should go, but okay, in the kit, you're going to have this little doohickey here, this black metal cage looking thing. This is what the SSD goes into. It slides into that, and this is what kind of mounts it to the camera. So you want to make sure that, loosen it up, and then it slides in like that. So we're going to mount this cage to the body, the cage body. So we're going to find a spot. You can kind of play around with where you want it to go. But let's see here. Yeah, let's do it on the top. I think that's probably the best. So we'll mount it to the top of the camera like that. Oh, come on. It's a little more difficult than what in the world? Okay, sorry. Let's try the side here. This is kind of frustrating. I see. It does need to go on the side because there's a little pin there. Okay, so it's going to go onto the side. Let's line that up. And there we go. That's locked in there. Okay, let's grab our SSD and our cable. We're going to slide the SSD into the cage right here. Oh, it goes on the top here. Oh, I got to loosen this so that it fits. Okay, slide it in and then tighten it all the way down onto the cage. That's really snug. Again, don't over tighten everything. You don't want to strip the threads, but make sure that it's not going to wobble all over the place. So then we take our USB-C and we plug it in underneath. Make sure you got a good alignment on that. That's good. And then we take the other end and plug it into the camera, which is, oh, I didn't even notice this. Okay, let me start over for a second. This is probably for data transfer when you're transferring it later. There is already a USB-C that is properly, has a nice strong angle mount, and it's already on the camera and is screwed in. So we're going to use that. So this is already plugged into the camera. It's going to be hanging on there. It's got a little USB-C and a little screw on the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug this in to, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong here? Sorry, folks. There's a screw at the top, but there's no way that fits in, or does it? Here, maybe this does go in the bottom. Ah, look at that. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so sorry to the editor. What you're going to want to do is put the SSD up through the bottom so that basically the port where the cable goes is right flush with this little extending piece right here. Because when you plug this in, it's got a screw on it. So you want to make sure that it plugs in like that and that this little screw lines up with that so you can tighten it in. This just really, you want to protect the connection while you're filming because anything can happen, and if you're shooting and the cable gets bumped or whatever, then you run the risk of losing the shot and footage corrupting, which I can't even tell you the horror stories I have of corrupted footage, but we don't have enough time for that. It's terrible. It's the worst feeling in the world. I mean, among probably other pretty bad feelings, but there we go. We're ready to shoot a movie, folks, okay? You got your beautiful camera. Let's get a side profile. Look, it isn't that beautiful. I mean, that is just a real beautiful piece of machinery there. I mean, you could just look at it all day. I mean, look at that. That is for making movies. And you can figure that out. Like, if you were to see that before setting it all up, you'd be like, what the heck is that? That's crazy. But now that you saw how the sausage is made, it's not that overwhelming. You can do it. And, best of luck with your shoot. Have a great time. Make sure to prepare. It's like woodworking, measure twice, cut once, do a lot of research on what you want to do. Make a little storyboard, draw what you're going to shoot. Put the dialogue for what you're going to shoot on the frame of the sketch so that you know what shot has what in it. Yeah, what else? We can do a little run through of like the lights here. So I'm actually going to move the camera. Make sure it's locked down before we move it. Okay. Lift your legs.
Can we turn it on so they can see? It's how it works.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Thank you. Okay. Scratch my idea. We're going to turn it on. After all that work, it's the final moment we get to turn it on. Wow, look at that. I'm going to make sure that the monitor's on too so you can see that. Come on now. There we go. It's on. Okay, let's see. What can I shoot? There you can see my hand there. That's real nice. Okay. So, as you'll notice with the follow focus. Oh, hold on. I got to tighten that down again. You'll notice that the focus is changing here. And you can, this isn't very exciting. I thought this would be a cooler shot, but okay. There it is. It's turning on. It works. The monitor is showing clearly, what I'm filming. The motors are all working good. Everything's got a lot of power. We've got, let's see how much battery we have about 50%. Again, you're going to want to start with a fully charged battery. But then the beauty of this is that when this battery dies, everything dies. This one battery is supporting the whole ecosystem we have here. And so I'm not just going to yank the battery. I'm going to simulate battery dying. I'm going to turn the camera off, which anytime you do anything, changing the lens, unplugging a cable, plugging it, whatever, just turn the camera off. It's just safer that way, especially removing the battery and stuff. So here we go. We're taking this battery off. All we got to do is take out one cable, plug this in, okay? Or in our case, put it back in the box. This will get charged, I promise. And then take out the other battery, put it on the back, just like that. Oh, make sure it's locked. It's good to go. And plug it in. And now you have everything powered again. You can turn the camera back on. You can turn the monitor back on. Everything's good to go. Hold on. Did I turn that? Oh, hello. Cut that part out. Okay. It's on. There we go. Brand new fresh battery. Look at that. And by brand new fresh battery, I mean also at 50%. So these were not charged before we started, but that's okay. They will be charged when you check them out, but don't quote me on that, just in case they're not. But we'll try. Okay. There's the beautiful cinema camera. Have a great time. Take care of the gear. Know the gear, get to know the gear before you start shooting. So like I said, 2 hours before you start shooting, set it up. But before that, the night before, couple nights before, check the gear out early. Put it together, practice putting it together, taking it down, switching lenses, doing all these different things that you're going to want to do, because you're not going to want to figure that out while you're shooting. I mean, you're going to learn a lot, and you can't know everything before you start shooting. That's where you learn the most. But you're going to want to generally know what you're kind of like basically doing as you're setting everything up, so that you're not, the actors are there waiting to shoot and you're just like, well, I think this goes in here or whatever. It's like, no, that's just get a basic understanding of the thing you're doing before you are ready to do it. But don't be afraid to make mistakes unless the mistake is dropping the camera or the lens. Be afraid of that. Darren will come for you if you drop these things. Don't do that. But don't be afraid to get a weird, funky shot. Get a Dutch angle or two, Don't do handheld shots, okay? In film, rules are meant to be broken, except for that rule. Don't do handheld shots because you're not him, okay? Just use a tripod, all right? Unless you know how to use a shoulder rig and all that stuff. But the tripod is the most beautiful piece of film equipment ever invented. I mean, it's just so versatile. And all of your favorite movies were shot on tripods. So don't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're going to turn it off now. And we're going to do a brief demo of the lights. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to lock this down. I'm going to move the camera over here. Okay, and then we're gonna bring this light over here. Let me check the time. Okay, I got 20 minutes. Okay. Alrighty. So these are the LED panels. These are great tools for lighting. They have an AC power adapter. They also have batteries that will come in the case that you just snap into the back here. Takes 2 of them. For the purposes of this demo, we're just going to have it plugged into the wall. There are 2 switches there's one switch on the back that goes 2 different ways. One direction is for the AC power, and the other direction is for if it has batteries. We're AC power, so we're going to turn it on. So we're shining that light right into the camera, which is actually looks pretty good that way. On the back, there's a whole panel of magical stuff. There's one knob here that adjusts the color temperature. Okay, so it's helpful to look to Google color temperature and kind of the numbers and values so you can see what they mean. But you know, a lower number is going to be cooler, a higher number is going to be warmer, right? Or am I mixed up? Nope, I'm mixed up. A lower number is going to be warmer, a higher number is going to be cooler, and then daylight is right in the middle. That's kind of the white neutral zone, kind of 3700. And then the other is our brightness. So bring it all the way down from 1% to 100%. Dang, it was at 1% when I turned it on, so it's even brighter, which probably shouldn't. Zoom into my face. Hold on. Zoom into my face. This is like when they opened the suitcase in Pulp Fiction, like that. Yeah. So that's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a light on a stick. Do some exploration with that on how to kind of light your scene. A good secondary tool to go along with this is a bounce board. You can use a piece of like foam core with a white face on it. And so if you only have one light, you can light somebody from one side and use the foam core to reflect the light to get the light on the other side. It's great. But you can also check out, I think we have we got like three lights in a kit. Can we make that happen? How does that work? 4. Wow.
Yeah, you got 4.
Okay. Yeah.
And also there's a scrim kit, which should be next to you on the floor.
Scrim kit. Oh, I don't know how about using that, so I'm just gonna mention it, but I'm not gonna. So yeah, you get 4 lights in the kit, and so you'll have plenty to play with. And then there's a scrim kit down here, which you can get there's what is that, flags and stuff, like different bounce boards and reflectors and whatnot. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of stuff to play with. You can get a really, really nice atmosphere for your shoot. So that's another thing. Usually, on your film set, ideally you have somebody who's in charge of the lighting, or not in charge, but who is kind of running that or managing that, because it's a lot for the camera person to do both. And so if you're doing lighting for your shoot, learn how lighting works. Take the kit home early, set some stuff up on a table and light it and see what it does. See what putting a panel in front of it does, and putting a reflector and how that works, or a bounce board. There's so many different possibilities. There's the 3-point lighting technique, which is very standard in lighting portraits. But then there's harsh lighting, backlighting. I really always like a hair light, where it's you kind of make the outline of the person's head kind of glow from behind. It's a nice shot, or a nice lighting technique. And then there's, soft lighting with a softbox. So play around with that. Learn how to use the equipment, again, like the camera, before you show up on set, so that you don't look like a complete newbie. It's okay to be a newbie, but, you should know kind of what you're dealing with before you show up, so that not only are you being safe with the equipment, but also you are being respectful of everybody's time, because you're going to be on set for many more hours than you planned to be, just from personal experience. And so the least or the less time spent fiddling with things and figuring how things work, the better for everybody. So yeah, that's the kit. Okay. And then when you're done shooting, the end of every shooting day, well, depending on the safety of your setup, if you're able to leave the camera, you want to take the, let's see, we've got the lens cap in here. You can leave the lens on there But you're gonna want to put the cap on. So let's bring this back over here. Lens cap, pop it on there. Make sure the camera's off. Camera's off. Monitor needs to be off. Make sure it's locked. It's all good to go. Okay. When you're on break, everything's off. Lens cap is on. Or if you need to leave it overnight on your set, preferably if the set is like a place where you have access to, like it's locked and it's not something where it's like just in a public place sitting out in the open. This is a very, very, very expensive setup. So do not be the one to get it misplaced or stolen or whatever. Just take good care of it. And when you're done, put everything back exactly around it. The lens goes in the lens case. The cables go with their respective units. The battery goes in the big Pelican. The lights and the stands go in their respective cases. The tripod has its own case. You feel free to leave the base plate on the camera just because that's really the only place for it to go. So, yeah, you can leave that on there. I believe that's everything. Let me know in the booth if I'm missing anything, but that is the kind of one-on-one or 101 breakdown of the Cinekit here at the DMC. So if you are considering making a movie, documentary, or narrative production, music video, anything, I mean, you know, sky's the limit, and we have everything you need to do it and to make it look really good. I mean, this is like stuff that you would see on Netflix. So get excited and make some cool stuff, and we hope to see you here soon.